Long, long ago, there lived far away in India a woodcutter called Shubhadeta and his family, who were all very happy together. The father went every day to the forest near his home to get supplies of wood, which he sold to his neighbors, earning by that means quite enough to give his wife and children all that they needed. One day, however, he meant to go a very long way into the forest to see if he could find better wood than nearer to home. Of course, they expected their father would come back the day he started for the depths of the forest, although they knew he would be late. What then was their surprise when darkness came and there was no sign of him. Again and again their mother went to the door to look for him, expecting every moment to see him coming along the beaten path which led to their door. Again and again she mistook the cry of some night bird for his voice calling to her. She was obliged at last to go to bed with a heavy heart, fearing some wild beast had killed him, and that she would never see him again. When Shubhadeta started for the forest, he fully intended to come back the same evening, but as he was busy cutting down a tree, he suddenly had a feeling that he was no longer alone. He looked up, and there, quite close to him, in a little clearing where the trees had been cut down by some other woodcutter, he saw 5 beautiful young girls, looking like fairies in their thin summer dresses and with their long hair flowing down their backs, dancing round and round, holding each other's hands. Shubhadeta was so astonished at the sight that he let his axe fall, and the noise startled the dancers, who all stood still and stared at him. The woodcutter could not say a word, but just gazed and gazed at them, till one of them said to him, "Who are you, and what are you doing in the very depths of the forest, where we have never before seen a man?" "I am only a poor woodcutter," he replied, "come to get some wood to sell, so as to give my wife and children something to eat and some clothes to wear." "That is a very stupid thing to do," said one of the girls. "You can't get much money that way. If you will only stop with us, we will have your wife and children looked after for you much better than you can do it yourself." After hesitating a little while, he said, "Yes, I will stop with you, if you are quite sure all will be well with my dear ones." "You need not be afraid about that," said another of the girls. "We are fairies, you see, and we can do all sorts of wonderful things. It isn't even necessary for us to go where your dear ones are. We shall just wish them everything they want, and they will get it. And the first thing to be done is to give you some food. You must work for us in return, of course." Shubhadeta once replied, "I will do anything you wish." "Well, begin by sweeping away all the dead leaves from the clearing, and then we will all sit down and eat together." Shubhadeta was very glad that what he was asked to do was so easy. He began by cutting a branch from a tree, and with it he swept the floor of what was to be the dining room. Then he looked about for the food, but he could see nothing but a great big pitcher standing in the shade of a tree, the branches of which hung over the clearing. So he said to one of the fairies, "Will you show me where the food is, and exactly where you would like me to set it out?" At these questions, all the fairies began to laugh, and the sound of their laughter was like the tinkling of a number of bells. Poor Suba, who was very tired and hungry, began to get unhappy and to wish he had gone straight home after all. He stooped down to pick up his axe and was just about to turn away with it when the fairies stopped their mad whirl and cried to him to stop. So he waited, and one of them said, "We don't have to bother about fetching this and fetching that. You see that big pitcher? Well, we get all our food and everything else we want out of it. We just have to wish as we put our hands in, and there it is. It's a magic pitcher. The only one there is in the whole wide world. You get the food you would like to have first, and then we'll tell you what we want." Shuba could hardly believe his ears when he heard that. Down he threw his axe and hastened to put his hand in the pitcher, wishing for the food he was used to. He loved curried rice and milk, lentils, fruit and vegetables, and very soon he had a beautiful meal spread out for himself on the ground. Then the fairies called out, one after the other, what they wanted for food, things the woodcutter had never heard of or seen, which made him quite discontented with what he had chosen for himself. What happens to fairies next? What happens to Subhadatta? What happens to his family? What happens to the magical pitcher? We'll find out in next chapter. Subscribe and stay tuned.